Welcome back to Midwest Esports Formula One. We are kicking off Season 11 in Division 1 with a race that we had just a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, but we are back in Brazil.
Yes, welcome back to Sao Paulo. This is one of my absolute favorite tracks. It offers just about every type of racing opportunity to the drivers on the track today. We have some wonderfully intricate corners along with some very, very opportunistic straights. We're going to have a lot of overtaking. We're going to have a lot of cheeky moves. This, I believe, is notorious in Midwest Esports as one of the most incident-prone races on the grid or on the tour. With, I believe, a safety car in every race in Midwest history, or pretty close to it. Don't quote me on the specifics there. This one's going to get a little grimy.
I know we had a few in the one we commented a few months ago. We had a major accident with 3 cars, and then we had several others sprinkled throughout the race. Was this also the one where they had trouble pulling out of the pit exit, I believe?
I believe so. Yeah,
we had a couple drivers on pit exit. It's a tight turn to the left, and a few of them spun out and almost hit the wall.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, but like you said at the top, the Brazil GP in Season 10 of Midwest Esports Racing saw that very, very brutal crash between Cynical's Williams, Sharia's Red Bull, and Lightworks' Aston Martin, where Lightwork was trying to take a center overtake past the Williams and Red Bull, but misjudged where the track pinched and ended up taking out both cars in turn. Just absolutely brutal, especially that late in the season. But we are going to just be overwhelmed with action here in just a few moments' time. We're waiting for the drivers to load into the lobby for qualifying one and only. And again, it's the same format in Season 11. Everything remains the same in terms of qualifying and race starts. We will have a formation lap before lights go out. We will be getting into some driver movement here. I don't know if we want to cover that during qualifying or if we want to save that for the intro of the race. But regardless, we do have a couple of moves and a couple of notable team pairings here for Season 11. So all in good time.
It's going to be interesting to see how they work together too. We do have several teams switching out drivers. I think most of them kept at least one, but they're going to have new teammates to race with. So if they practiced together a lot before this race, or they're working on team strategies or talking or just racing their race, we'll find out.
Yeah, I was in the paddock chat earlier trying to take a look at what Scarenzi was saying in terms of having a new teammate in Aston Martin. I can't recall if he said that he has had so many new teammates and he's just continued to dominate, or if, there was something going on there where he commented on that. But it doesn't seem like it's going to affect Mr. 4-time here as he looks for his 5th championship in Midwest history. Scarenzi on an absolute tear following the finale of Season 10.
And I believe at least Aston Martin's still looking for their first Constructors' Championship in the league or in the division. Last season, it was a few weeks ago, not last year, where he had, a couple races where a teammate can't make the race, and then it's just hard to get the team to stay at the top of the points. So you really want to have someone consistent on your team so that you can collect as many team points as possible, and someone who's going to stick up near the top of the leaderboard with you.
Yeah, this just in, it sounds like from weather control, we may be seeing some rain here. Whether that's going to come in qualifying or in the race remains yet to be seen. But we may have a bit of weather. Let's take a look at the track right now. Currently sunny in Sao Paulo. Don't seem to be any issues, but again, we may be seeing something in the near future here. Driver's worst nightmare, especially at such a racy track, such a competitive track like Interlagos.
And we already have both of the Alpine cars. As soon as you could, I saw both of them bolt out of the pit lane trying to get out there. I don't know if rain's going to happen in quali, but they wanted to get out there first and set some times, and they're sticking close to each other.
Well, hey, Scarenzi got his victory lap following the finale in Bahrain 2 weeks ago, and we can take this as the Alpine victory lap right here. Both of those Alpine cars coming off of a commanding Constructors win. They were able to stay consistent. I do not believe they won a single race last season, but those points were so consistent the entire way through. They were able to squeak it out. And surprisingly, Aston Martin, like you said, with all of the substitutions, Scarenzi was not able to do it by himself. They finished, I believe, 5th or 6th in the Constructors.
I was about to ask who Chico Landy was, but I'm assuming that's Nicky, considering Aero Racing Design is there, and Nicky always had his name changed last year, so process of elimination, I'm hoping that's him.
Is Chico Landy something like Checo Lando, and he's just changed the names, or
I don't know
is this
if
some like
knows.
skibbity toilet that I just don't, I've aged out of the reference?
I'm starting to feel like it might be a reference that we just aged out of.
Well, I'm going to do a little quick search here. Chico Landy. I'm scared. Oh, motorsports racing driver, not Checo Lando. Francisco Sacco Landy, better known as Chico, was a racing driver from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He participated in 6 Formula One seasons.
I do feel like he references a lot of drivers in his names.
I appreciate that. It's become a thing where like we just don't see his name anymore, but I do appreciate that they at least have some meaning. He's not just pulling out Mickey Mouse every other week.
Pretty much a history lap for us every time that we watch him, and he already goes into the pits without finishing a lap out here. Maybe just warming up the car, getting a feel of the track.
Maybe. I know a lot of these drivers during the 2 weeks completely took those 2 weeks off from F123. They've moved over to iRacing, AC, different sim setups. So a lot of them are just getting back in. So it would not surprise me if he went out for a quick test to see how that car feels, bring it back in and adjust as he sees fit. Maybe he learned something in the off season. Very, very quick off season.
It looks like both of them went back into the pits. So just maybe some team having fun.
Haddock, seems like they're chatting with their managers here. Looks like they were both invalidated. Yeah, turn 4 got both. Turn 4 got at least Aero Racing Design. Not sure where Nicky was invalidated, but those laps were null and void. So I guess they just chose to duck back in for a hot second. Maybe they need to affect down, and maybe they need to change downforce or figure something else out with the car.
Yeah, it looks like Scarenzi also went back into the pits after going out for a lap. I think he was out.
I do know that there have been some tracks that have seen some minor updates. I know Spain had one semi-recently that featured a ghost bump that has since been corrected. But maybe there's something going on here in Brazil that, whether it's different track physics or I'm not sure. Hard to say.
They were saying turn 4, correct?
Yeah, that's at least what Aero said.
So I believe that's the next one coming up here on the onboard with Lightwork, who was with Aston Martin last season, right? And is now with AlphaTauri.
That is correct. And yeah, look at that. Pushing out to the outside. It's not going to be a track limits, but
it's a tighter one. I mean, I can see that's where you want to carry a lot of speed around the track. You really don't want to let up, but I guess there's enough. We'll see Ryan Rod's in the Ferrari. See him do it as well.
Ryan Rod's a substitute for Callie Robb in today's race. Callie Robb unable to make the premier race, but no worries. Ryan's got it under control here. Coming into turn 4, let's see, through 3. Nice, clean, tidy, picking up speed there. What am I talking about? I'm just naming numbers now.
At least you're good at that.
It'd be better if it was the right turn.
You'll get there eventually.
What did you do during your 2 weeks off? Did you have fun doing anything else on your Thursday evenings?
I went to Myrtle Beach. It wasn't on a Thursday evening, though, but spent a few days down there golfing almost every single day, and it's been a blur. I don't know. What about you?
That's wonderful. No, I went skating one of the weeks, went roller skating, and the other week, I believe I just stayed in and watched a movie. Really nice just to have the full Thursday evening with nothing to do. But I'm not going to lie, I did miss racing. I was looking up highlights from last season. I was checking the driver's chat to see if anyone was talking or whatever I could do. Definitely scratching that itch again here tonight.
I will say it throws off your schedule when we don't have commentary to do on Thursdays or our videos to record on Monday nights. If we skip it for some reason, it throws off the entire week.
Yeah, no, for sure. Very, very schedule oriented. I'm going to remind you, if you want to turn off your camera to save it, feel free. Goodbye. I'll see you in a little bit. We have a caution in Sector 2. We're on board with the reigning champion, Scarenzi, now moving up into 4th place as he approaches this Sector 2 caution. Again, probably just drivers taking heed, taking caution for anybody else out on the track. Nothing to be concerned about. As of right now, Scarenzi still trying to set pace, currently at a 108.4, holding him there in 4th place. Scott Palmer finished the season in Bahrain on pole position and is starting season 11 in that same spot, almost a second, well, just a couple tenths faster than Ryan Rodds in that Ferrari in 2nd place. But Scott Palmer definitely setting some qualifying speed, carrying that over from season 10, making the dream work. We'll see if that Williams can hold on come race time. We know Scarenzi loves to cut through that pack, and he has 2 bright red targets sitting right ahead of him right now. If he can't get ahead of them now, he may very well get ahead of them in the early stages of this race.
And it looks like we have a reason for VTech in the Mercedes and not going as fast as he thought. He found out that the Inters felt really good out there on the track right now. And Cake was saying, I was going to ask you, but it looks like you figured it out. Intermediate tires are very good for rain, not so much for the dry weather.
Pulling the rust off. You love to see it. Hey, the pit crews need time to get back to form as well. But I mean, hey, look, if there's rain in the forecast later today, maybe those Inters, maybe that is a good strategy. Give them at least a lap, get some abrasion on them before they actually see the wet. I don't know.
I can tell you
long
no.
strategy?
I've been working on my endurance race last week. Had a rain start, dry middle, rain finish, and I was able to get those 2 pretty timed out for fuel load. But I had to, depending on when the weather hits, because it was random what time it would come back, I may have had to have done a couple laps on the wet tires. Otherwise, hit refuel, put softs on, and then like go back in 2 laps later to put the right tires on. So I tried with intermediate tires and wet tires and sticking them out for a lap or 2 in dry conditions just so I didn't have to box when the rain hit. And in 1 lap, I chewed through 50% of the tire.
Whoa!
And by the time the rain hit, I was just sliding everywhere because I ate through all of that rubber. So it's probably not the best to warm them up on dry tarmac.
All right, so he definitely messed up.
Yeah, we live and learn. Maybe.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, maybe he knows something that both of us don't. I'm still holding out hope, and definitely someone here trying to hold out hope. The last time he was in Brazil, he was a part of an incident that I will forever remember. It's Sharia Coleslaw once again running for Team Red Bull.
I'm also just never knowing what Red Bull's going to do. Now we had that one race where they stayed out on the same tires for maybe 20 laps and then finally pitted, and we were just screaming trying to figure out what they were doing. Scott Palmer set an even faster time. Look at that, 107.744. It's 0.5 of a second faster than 2nd place right now.
Unreal, improving 0.2 on his own pace. But yeah, those Red Bulls were entertaining some very, very interesting tire management strategies last season, towards the end of the season. But it worked out for both of them. More times than not, we saw both of these drivers and said, uh-oh, not sure what they're doing, not sure how this is going to work. And it did, for the most part, work out in their favor. So I don't know if they have a car build that allows for that, or if these drivers are just so meticulous with their tire wear that they are able to make this work better than the rest of the grid. But we'll definitely, more than likely, going to be seeing some more hijinks from the Racing Bulls here later in the season. Houdini out of today's qualifying session. He will set a slowest time down there in 20th. I believe he left. It says currently says he's in the pit. He is not retired from the session, but we can believe the message. He may be starting in the back of the pack in that McLaren.
We'll at least find out what happened to him in a little bit. We do have Cake Thomas. I will have to say that. But that every time I read that name now, I have to say to myself, like, cake. Just to solidify it. He is in the Alfa Romeo this season.
Yes, also the host of tonight's race, being hosted by Cake Thomas. Who is he? He was a fill-in last year, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. Cake was definitely showing some pace. He had some unfortunate spinouts in a couple of the races, a couple just DNFs because of driving incidents, racing incidents. A couple of them driver error, a couple of them not. But we'll see if Cake has better luck now that he is a mainstay up here in Division 1. We are on board with the sub, GSR Ryan Rods. We may see him in a season's time with a permanent spot in Division 1. But his teammate Race Day is not ready to give up on his hunt for for I believe his second Drivers Championship. Coming in second place behind Scarenzi in just about every single race last year. Race Day, definitely one of those hungry competitors out there trying to get it done in one of those Ferraris.
And Ryan Rods did improve, moving up into third place, jumping over Scarenzi by 1/10 of a second. Now most of our drivers will be pulling into pit lane to put on those fresh tires for their final chance at setting the fastest time. Lancey also going into the pits. We'll see if Alfa Romeo, if they will go into the pits, but they have, both drivers still out on the track.
And once again, if you are new to the MidWest eSports racing family, welcome. Thank you for choosing the Nick and Mitch broadcast as your broadcast of choice.
This is the other choice.
This is a qualifying one and only, meaning at the end of this 3-minute and 40-second timer, we're going racing. There's no Q2, no Q3 here. What you get is what you get, and then those lights go out following the formation lap. But like Mitch said, all the drivers getting ready, putting on those brand new boots, getting those warmed up, and heading out for their final sprint around Interlagos. Just one of my favorite tracks. It's one of those ones where when you learn it, it is with you forever. And it just feels like you're riding your favorite roller coaster every single lap. It's such a fun counterclockwise track.
It is. And the final corner going into the street is just so much fun. It's high speed, has a little bit of a bank to it too. So when you're sitting in that car, you're on a bit of an angle, pulling into the pit lane. There's a bit of a dip there, but a lot of drivers try to cheat that little corner. And it's just got some really nice sweeping turns.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. Houdini officially out of today's session along with VTech, who was running those inters earlier on, but seeing that he is grayed out, he will not better his time there. We had a little spin from Aero Racing Design. That's unfortunate as time is running out. We'll see if he can post a lap, an improvement on his current place up there in 6th. Not too shabby to start the race from 6th place. But, of course, he wants to claw up as much as he can.
I just got a notification, too, from Pork Chops that Scarenzi and Sui are brothers.
Did not know that.
Racing against each other in different teams.
Not know that.
We did know that Fireballer and Galt Palmer are brothers on the same team, both on Williams, and are both deaf. So we love to see them racing together in the Williams. And Galt Palmer currently still holding that pole position. I believe he set the lap on lap 1 or 2, his very first one, and then improved slightly, and it's still enough to hold on.
Yeah, Galt Palmer on an absolute tear here, just the qualifying king. I love these storylines that are coming out, slowly to us. These drivers have been running with each other for many, many years now. But it's brand new to us, and seeing these connections, like I just learned, we just called an entire season of those two brothers, Scarenzi and Sui, and they're guys. They're just guys being dudes. I had no idea. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I met my cousin. He's in Division 4, but I was at his wedding in October, and I met another driver who's in Division 3 now. He was in Division 4.
Shout out.
So it was cool to see some of the people in real life.
And I'm sorry.
Of course, talk about sim racing.
And I'm sorry, your cousin's handle in MidWest Racing is
IlBill123.
Congratulations, Il Bill, on the recent marriage and all of his friends who are a part of that. Yeah, that's wonderful. I remember you sending me messages and letting me know that more of the guys from MidWest were a part of that wedding. Looked like such a fun time.
Looks like we had Chico Landy retire, maybe from a little accident. I don't know. We also have Electric Blade out, VTech out, so they are locked in at their times. Scarenzi has been chipping away at his 108, and he is now 1/10 of a second. That would put him only in 4th place right now, unless this final corner he can make up a bit more time, but it is a very tricky one. There is not much to improve on because it is just such a long straight. And he does jump up into 4th place, but that is his final lap for qualification, so he will do no better than that. And we still have plenty of drivers on the track still behind him.
Oh, here's a familiar sight. GSR Edwin, Race Day, and Scarenzi all together. Era Racing not far behind. This is a very familiar scene. Got Palmer starting up in pole. I feel like I've seen this one before. GSR Edwin and Race Day, both competitors who have bested Scarenzi in the past season. I believe GSR Edwin was the last driver to take a victory over Scarenzi before he lifted that trophy at the end of the season. And I mean, last season, the podium in Brazil, we had GSR Edwin on top, followed by Scarenzi in 2nd, and Cali Robb in the Ferrari in 3rd place. If we look down there, we have yet another Ferrari starting today's race in 3rd, bookending Scarenzi in 5th as well.
We also have both Ferraris. The Red Bulls were doing this too, giving each other a tow, and it's enough.
Wow, Ryan Rods goes fastest. The substitute driver for Cali Robb now sitting pole with just 1:50 remaining in the final laps of the race. Ryan Rods looking like he is taking provisional pole in the season premiere race here from Sao Paulo.
I believe he will. Everyone has completed their laps. I was going to mention that Red Bull did that as they crossed the finish line, almost giving each other a tow. They were stacked 1-2, one getting a nice little slipstream. Ferrari does it just a bit better, and they're able to take pole position with Ryan Rods. Got Palmer getting bumped down to 2nd by 0.2 of a second. That is a huge gap, but really does show how much getting that slipstream off of your teammate in qualifying can help you in a lap time. And we've seen that. It happened a lot last week in the real life races.
Yeah, and if these drivers aren't communicating with their teammates as of right now, I'm sure they will once they see that replay and how Ferrari was able to just squeak that out at the very last moment. I'm sure most of these teammates are already on chats, already communicating with one another to make sure that they are optimizing their race as a duo. But just a calm reminder there. We're having some connection issues here in the grid, so we may need to restart the lobby, but we will keep you updated on that and how all of that works. Houdini having some connection issues, saying that we may need a new lobby. He's unable to get into the current one, so stand by. We may be on a slight delay for today's race, but we will keep you entertained until lights go out. We'll try at least. Well, welcome back, everyone. Season 11 of Midwest Formula One Racing kicks off tonight from Sao Paulo, Brazil. The 15 turns of Interlagos offer drivers a challenging mix of tight technical sections as well as premier overtaking opportunities. This grid is absolutely stacked this season, and I can assure you there will be no shortage of incredible moments throughout the next 15 weeks of action. After a brief 2-week reset, racing returns to Thursday nights from Sao Paulo. This is Season 11, the premiere of Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch.
And I forgot my camera is off, but we are redoing the lobby, so we will be getting the invites and then kicking off with the race. You weren't able to see it, but I saw that the rain was pouring down in Brazil, so now VTech is allowed to put on those intermediate tires if he wants to start this race, or he could go with the softs. It's his choice.
Yeah, and we will be keeping the same weather pattern. We were taking a look. One of the drivers sent us the session forecast with the race strategy, and it is looking like rain throughout the following, or the final 2 stages of the race may see the rain let up. So we may have a dry finish, but it's looking like it's going to be a very wet, dismal day here in Brazil. This is not one of the tracks. Well, I guess none of the tracks you want to ride under wet, but I'm not sure. I've never ridden Brazil during the rain. This one may actually work in their favor. It's not super tight. It's not super technical. I'm not sure.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. This is a very interesting race to have a slight delay in because we have no season momentum yet. We have no movements. We have no storylines to pull out other than the brothers that are racing. We really don't have much to talk about right now. As we get into the season, we can talk about strategies. We will be with Division 1, I believe, for the first handful of races. We take a brief departure mid-season to cycle through the other divisions, and then we will be returning for the close of the season. So we will bookend the season with a bundle of races on each end. So we will be able to follow these storylines pretty closely as we go through the season. But just know that Nick and Mitch will not be your exclusive home of Division 1 racing here in Season 11. We are going to spread the wealth around. Thank you very much to all of the broadcast team over at Midwest Racing, along with our race season just event commissioner, the incredible Pork Chops, and our stewards for this season, WS Bacon and Knuckles, which Knuckles will be serving as head D1 steward this season. Thank you to all of those gentlemen who keep the lights on here at Midwest Racing and keep just everything above board. This is a professionally, it's everything about this league is phenomenal.
If you want, we can talk about the team changes for this season, and then if you also want, if you want to do the intro again once we load into the lobby, it's going to load right into the race.
Yes,
There's going to be a loading screen, so we can redo the intro and the track thing. So then when we post this as a video, there'll be a nice cohesive flow right into the start of the race. But over the season, they did do the F1 team selections once again. I believe each team can retain one driver, and then they get to pick, and the order is based on the average Constructors' Cup finishes for each team overall for divisions. So it's not 1st to 10th from Division 1. It's where did Mercedes, I believe Mercedes finished the best out of all 4 divisions, like average, and Ferrari was last. I think they finished like 7th overall. Mercedes was like 4th overall. So they got to pick that way. But Alpine, winning the Constructors' Cup, they kept their team together. So we have Aero Racing Design and Nikki sticking to the plan. In Williams, we talked about, we have the 2 brothers, Got Palmer and Fireballer. Brothers, Def, driving for racing, looking to also take home a championship. Red Bull kept the team together too. They are not brothers, but they are listed as a bromance in the Discord with Lancey and Sharia Coleslaw. We have Houdini sticking with McLaren for season 11 and bringing in Gunner to be his new teammate. Ferrari sees both Race Day and Cali Robb rocking the red. And then rocking the slightly darker red in Alfa Romeo, we have the only Division 2 call-up permanently for season 11 with Sui, the brother of Scarenzi, and then Cake Thomas. Mercedes has 2 Puerto Ricans on their team, VTEC 87 and GSR Edwin. Aston Martin keeps the drivers' champion Scarenzi, brings Cynical into his team to see if they can take on the cup. 2 more teams. Whew. Haas has Electric Blade and Scavney. And AlphaTauri with Posh Josh and Lightwork, who was on Aston Martin last season.
Very well done. And yeah, all of these drivers, a little bit of shuffling here in D1. We did see Sui coming up. I wonder if that is just in their genes. Are they just great drivers? Or is Scarenzi a phenomenal coach? I don't want to say that he's a bigger brother, little brother, whatever else. Maybe he's the bro with the talent that's showing some of the skills. Is he, passing down some of his old racing equipment? I don't know. Is there some magic there? Is it hoodoo voodoo, or is it just in their blood? Remains yet to be seen. Maybe we'll hear from one of those drivers later through the season of what their secret is. But amazing to see both of those drivers, 2 sets of brothers, driving in Division 1 together. And then, of course, you got to love the Mercedes, the Puerto Rican power over there. Both of those drivers representing the same country for Mercedes as well. This is going to be such an exciting year. We have a lot of a lot of partners that I was not thinking of. Again, from an outsider perspective, jumping in midway through the season, was not really sure, where the alliances were, where the friendships, sit. But seeing these guys moving around, it's very interesting. Maybe this will be the matchup that we're going to see a more even, close, compressed grid instead of just one person owning every single race.
It's hard to tell. It is going to be very exciting to see that too, where we have some of the familiar faces that were qualifying up near the top, but Ferrari doing very well, at least here in Brazil. And with those different team dynamics, those moves, where your second place person on the team finishes does affect the overall constructors pretty heavily. So we will see that make some changes. Looks like they're getting ready to go here in just a second. The rain's also going to play an important part too. We talked about having your car set up. Do you set it up for the rain or do you set it up for dry? I didn't see if the weather's going to change midway through this race, but you typically set up for one of those two. You can't do both unless you just want to go average down the middle.
Right. Yeah, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 weather bubbles on the top of, I'm looking up through the paddock chat here. Knuckles posted the weather layout.
Well, we'll get back to you on that. It is about time to kick off the race.
Let's go. Well, welcome back, everyone. Season 11 of Midwest Formula One Racing kicks off from Sao Paulo, Brazil. 15 turns of Interlagos offer drivers a challenging mix of tight technical sections as well as premier overtaking opportunities. This year's grid is absolutely stacked, and I can assure you there will be no shortage of incredible moments throughout the next 15 weeks of racing action. After a brief 2-week reset, racing returns to Thursday night. From Sao Paulo, this is Season 11, the premiere of Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch.
I think you did it even better the second time with that introduction. And now everyone has the chance to see the downpour that we have in Brazil. That is going to make this pit lane exit very tricky. And you talked in qualifying that Brazil, historically in Midwest esports, is full of safety cars. We saw several in the race we covered just a month or two ago, and it was beautifully sunny and dry out on the track. So today's going to be interesting with people in new cars, new teammates, and wet weather.
Yeah, in the world of racing, we have a term for races like this, and it's not ideal. It's not how you want to start any season. It's not how you want to start any race. But we don't get to decide the weather on race day. These guys are going to throw on the wets. They're going to throw on the inters. Whatever they need to do to make it happen. We will be racing here momentarily as we wait for the last few drivers to enter the lobby. We will enter the formation lap, followed by lights out on the grid. But yes, Brazil, one of the most notorious tracks in Midwest esports for safety car deployments. I don't have the exact number, but one of the stewards tonight, WS Bacon, was shouting out that statistic. It is... Oh, are we
doing a formation lap?
Okay.
As they call it in Formula One.
Well, yeah, I didn't see formation written anywhere. I apologize.
It doesn't show up on the screen. It catches me every time.
Yeah, okay.
It already has like the red light ready to start, and then it switches to green. It gives a bit of a heart attack.
Yeah, I was very scared that we missed the start of the race there. But no, this is the formation lap that we just talked about. Drivers able to just get a feel where the water is pulling up. They really can't warm up these tires, even though you see some of them like race day, giving it a little bit of a go here. Probably just testing how grippy these inters truly are. It looks like they're on wets. My apologies.
And that corner they just exited has been a problem for some track limits and drivers in qualifying. Even harder in the wet conditions because you can take it full throttle when it's dry and hopefully stay in track limits, but when it's wet, it's even harder to try and corner and continue accelerating and slide all over the place with the water.
Yeah, a downward sloping left turn is nobody's friend. This is one of the slower sections on the map here. We see the tire strategies. We're just going to be keeping wets the entire race, but whether they choose a 2 or 3 scopper remains yet to be seen. We can already assume that the Red Bulls are going to try and keep that second stop as close to the end of the race as possible. Knowing them, they're going to try and run probably 20 out of these 36 laps on one single set and then swap out the last possible minute. But we won't know until we see it happen. We are definitely going to see some cars spinning out, especially when you get into that back section after turn 4 into 5 through 7, 5 through 8. A lot of the drivers are going to want to push. It's your inclination to push as hard as you can in that technical section. Will not be surprised if we see some folks spinning off the track here, even in lap 1. It's going to be a bit dicey.
And I know the motto of the game, F1 23, is be the last to break. Maybe don't be the last to break in wet weather going into turn 1 here.
Well, 10 seasons down. 1 more to go. We are here, season 11, Sao Paulo, Brazil. The lights are out. I didn't even see them go on, but we are underway in season 11 of Formula One Division 1 and Midwest eSports. Ryan Rods in the lead of today's race, followed by GSR Edwin, Gott Palmer, Scarenzi. Race day moving past Scarenzi. Gott Palmer moving past GSR Edwin as we have a slight shuffle in the top of the pack. Light work also making quick work of Coleslaw as we have movement all over the grid. Scarenzi back into 4th place. Cynical Fireballer up. Chico up. Lancy up as well.
I believe I saw some debris somewhere out on the track. I couldn't catch who it was. I saw Scarenzi and Sharia got a little bit bumpy coming into turn 2. We have a caution flag out. Looks like VTech in the Mercedes.
Oh, we have
a lot
shrapnel.
of debris just raining down from the sky. So VTech, Scavney, Houdini, all involved it looks like. And Houdini got a penalty for the 5-second severe collision. 3 drivers. I was going to say, who's that car down in Sector 1? That's the safety car. Coming to catch up with them.
Oh, that is just So unfortunate to see these three drivers. We know Houdini was having major connection issues in qualifying, but to see Scavney undergo that amount of damage, thankfully that car is still able to move. Houdini, yeah, having connection issues. Looks like he has left the session again. Unfortunate there for the McLarens. An unfortunate start for the Papayas. But again, Scavney and that Haas did not even get a chance to get this race started. Hopefully he's able to get that into the pits to replace, whatever parts were flying off. But, there may still be some side pods, some body damage remains yet to be seen. Electric Blade getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. A lot of these drivers taking a moment. They might have had some sort of collision. Just a good chance for a solid restart here as we are in lap 2 officially of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Aero Racing Design coming across the radio. What a mess of a start. I couldn't agree more.
Yes, we got through maybe the first third, the first sector of the race. Electric Blade is out. Don't know if he was involved in the collision. He may have been earlier on. And sometimes if you have that terminal damage to the underbody of your car, it's not fixable in the pits and you do have to drop out of the race. We see VTech disqualified for blocking the pit lane. That's a brand new one to me.
Wait, sorry. VTech was disqualified for... What is going on?
And his car, meanwhile, is pulling back out onto the track.
Right, he's gone rogue. Somebody stop him. Someone get the Mercedes.
I missed it. It looked like there was a white car, like the Haas was off the track completely. Maybe that was Electric Blade's car who disqualified.
So it seems like a couple of the drivers are blaming the lobby restart on their settings and their setups. One of them notably being Electric Blade. Took me to the start of the race to realize I forgot my setup. I was wondering why my car wouldn't turn. I don't like these lobby restarts. With a little, more colorful language there at the end.
He did change the language just a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have the safety car for a little bit. We can see who was able to jump around so far with the minimal race. Lancey and Red Bull and Sharia Coleslaw, those two jumping up 3 positions and 5 positions, just mastering that start. Race day and Ferrari slipped away from his teammate Ryan Rods and has dropped down into 8th place. Cake Thomas in the Alfa Romeo jumped up 7 positions to 10th place. Aero Racing Design dropped down 10 positions. So did Nicky Alpine. He dropped down 5, and Scavney dropped down 4. Red Bull, just an incredible start.
Yeah, Aero Racing looks like there were 2 illegal overtakes. Not sure, what was going on there. Could have just been all of the traffic, some confusion there. But yeah, just Red Bull, phenomenal start. Both of those drivers thrusting their way up through the grid. Yes, I used the word thrusting through the grid to command that top 10 there. Yeah, sorry, 3 off. I used the word thrusting on a live stream, and it's...
Yeah, I was just...
Say something, please.
It's the rain falling down. It's starting to put me to sleep a bit. We do have the safety car coming in, though, so we will have a new start for this race. Going into lap 4, Aero Racing Design just got a 5-second penalty. Did they just collide? Or is that just being handed out?
Houdini is in the... I am not sure. Potentially? But you would assume that if it was
restart.
You would assume if it was a severe collision that we would have seen something happen. We already have movement on the grid. Looks like Cake Thomas and Knuckles are effectively out of this race. Oh, they're in the pits. Apologies.
Maybe they're doing their tire change right now. Because I believe you have to do one with the wets.
Yeah, you still need to complete one change, although you don't have to switch tire compounds. It's a safety rule there. Ferrari, Ryan Rods going wide there through... Was that turn 4?
I don't know. Fireballer is also out, though. He just said someone stopped completely, and now he is out of the race, too. So Brazil really holding up to the safety car, or at least the damage zone for a lot of these cars.
Really is. Yeah, this is not the way that you want to be starting the season here. A lot of the drivers sounding off in the chat don't sound too happy. VTech and Fireballer both messaging from their paddocks. Sounds like VTech got hit passing someone. Then he came out of the pits. The car slid, hit the wall, and gave him the disqualification. So just a series of unfortunate events, literally, for at least 3 of these drivers. Houdini still remains yet to be seen if his connection's going to hold up for the rest of this race. Yeah, there looks like he's back. GSR Ryan Rods setting fastest lap for 1:22.8.
Oh, and he went wide on turn 1
did.
there, which got Palmer through, and GSR Edwin is trying to pass him as well. I didn't quite catch it. It was just behind the scoreboard, but that slip up is really going to cost Ryan Rods.
Look at that. We have another grouping of 3 heading into this turn. This could get messy. Lancy, Ryan Rods, GSR Edwin, Scarenzi all fighting for position. It's Edwin moving up past Lancy.
Got to go on board and watch these battles because we have 4 cars effectively battling just behind first place. And it's almost a time where Scarenzi just has to wait until they start battling and he can pass all of them. He might have a good shot here in the straight. We'll get no DRS, but a lot of slipstream happening.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Scarenzi, as patient as ever, is just going to sit back and wait for these 4 to do something, give him that opportunity to pull the Lewis Hamilton and overtake multiple cars on a fairly, obvious straight here. Wonder if he does. No, I don't believe we go under DRS because of the wet conditions. So we will not have DRS, but a slipstream nonetheless could be a massive benefit for Scarenzi. Still, do not count him out. Got Palmer going fastest with a 1:22.9. Before that, we had Houdini somehow setting a fastest lap with 11 seconds. Something's going on there in the McLaren paddock. I'm not sure I know what it is.
A little bit scary. Welcome to the chat, by the way. Zert gets focused and abouts.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I was hoping you would say something there.
1673. I don't know what that is, but yes, sure.
Are we getting a lot of references today that we're just too old to get?
I
or
really
too oblivious to remember?
I hope not. But we are here nonetheless. Thank you very much to our Riders Republic, our Steep community over here for supporting as well. I can't read and speak at the same time. But yes, Scarenzi biding his time, the reigning champion from season 10, just taking all of the time in the world behind Lancy, waiting to see what these folks do as the top 4 spread out. We do have another caution in Sector 1. That looks like it is the Alfa Romeo of Cake Thomas having some issues, getting a little squirrely there in the S-Benz down the hill. It happens. We know Cake has had some issues. Wait, can you please go back to tire?
I was. Cake is the only one on intermediates.
That might have something to do with it. It means we're top tier YouTubers. 1673C. I learned something. Thank you. Thanks.
I'll choose to believe that for now. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be
definitely not
for
Googling
30
this
minutes
right
afterwards.
now. Definitely not Googling this right now. It doesn't show.
That's all right.
We'll
Scott
see.
Palmer, I believe, set the fastest lap. No, Ryan Rods took it back. Sorry, that's what I saw. The 1:22.468. Still in second place, but he is looking to close that gap. He is 1.5 seconds, though. Scott Palmer has really taken off in first place. You have Lightwork and AlphaTauri jumping over Aero Racing Design, and he is also over MMR Cynical, who is the new teammate for Scarenzi and Aston.
And there goes Aero Racing and Lightwork back and forth. They go, the Alpine and the AlphaTauri through the technical sections here. It is Aero Racing Design able to pull it out here in the end of the sector. That was a phenomenal back and forth between those two drivers. Sure, that fight is far, far from over.
Yes, and it looked like we did have Cake Thomas sliding a bit again, and he has retired from the session now, so he is out officially. I don't know if that is a little bit of the tires or if something also happened to his car.
Yeah, if I was to take an educated guess, I would say it was car damage by way of the improper tire. But hopefully we'll hear something from Cake in the paddock chat here to confirm what happened. Unfortunate again. It feels like every race we cover, whether it's in a McLaren or an Alpha, Cake is having to bow out before the checkered flag. Gunner able to overtake Scavney in that.
This is a brand new view too. This is like on the wing.
I like
You
it.
just saw that Scarenzi was closing the gap on Lancey in 4th and 5th place. But Lancey almost 2 seconds behind 3rd, which is GSR Edmonds. So right now a little bit of a battle for 4th and 5th, and then a battle for 6th and 7th.
We're going to take a quick break and pander to the Riders Republic folks that are in the chat. Our other series, the Riders Report, will not be ending at 100 episodes. It just may be swapping format. So all of that will be laid out in the coming weeks. But we are on board with Scarenzi in 5th place, closing the gap, trying to on Lancey. Is he going to be able to take him? He will not. Well, not there at least. Still right on the tail end as we head down the hill into Sector 1. This is a very fast section. Lancey has to be careful to defend around turn 3. Here we go into the long straight. Scarenzi could take the draft here. Will he be able to do it before turn 4? No. Lancey still able to hold him off at just under or just over 1/10 of a second.
And I think he's still just sticking to his line, trying to get, wait until he messes up and get a nice pass on him. Especially in this wet, you can hear the tires just spinning and him revving up to the maximum, but holding very tight on these corners. Some of the important ones too, where he's able to get some good, clean exits into these straights.
You definitely see Scarenzi carrying some speed through these corners, trying to keep up with the Red Bull. But again, very cool, calm, collected, not pushing too hard. But with him, not even touching those white lines on the inside of these corners, you can tell that he's carrying a bit more than he might like to. There we go, trying to turn on some overtake there, but it was a little too much power in the corner. Scarenzi able to recorrect it and keep it on course. I believe the last race that Scarenzi won during wet conditions was Canada last year, the Montreal Grand Prix, which he handily conquered.
I believe so, and he said he hated that course too, and then took home the victory. And he said that about a couple that he had so far.
But yeah, that was scary there. You saw him activate overtake, trying to get him around that final corner before the finish straight, at least just catching up, so he could be closer to contention, squirreling out a bit. We just saw race day behind light work in the Ferrari squirreling out a little bit there on the exit of turn 4. Yes, turn 4. There's a caution in Sector 2. Looks like we may have... Who is that back there? Oh, the blue cars. Who is that back there?
Ooh, that might be Knuckles in the AlphaTauri. It does look like it.
Yes, okay.
Scavney then. Okay, so he's back there.
Okay, just making sure. It looks like we are back under green. It was just a quick incident. I had to.
I know. It's the... Did you have to do it in the first race, though?
Well, so Cake Thomas chiming in the paddock chat, went from P17 to P11 on lap 1. Then Concertina affected on the restart, destroyed my wing and any chance in the race.
That's the accordion effect. I looked it up for us.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So accordion effect destroyed the wing.
Yeah, it sounds like someone stopped or came close to a stop, and then the accordion effect where 5 cars behind have to stop, but each car takes progressively more to react to it, and so the ones closer to the end tend to be a little bit late, and then that pushes everyone together like an accordion.
I unfortunately saw that working in action in gridlock traffic about a week ago. It was right next to me. I was sipping my coffee, listening to my music, listening to the morning radio show, and watched the car next to me. Just didn't decide to stop whatsoever. And definitely felt the effects of the accordion there. Welcome to the DC Metro. Lap 11 here from Race 1, Season 11 of Midwest Esports Formula 1 Division 1. Got Palmer currently pole position and first place, sitting atop the grid, setting that pace for substitute Ferrari driver Ryan Rods and his clan teammate, GSR Edwin, followed by Lancey in that Red Bull, the Daredevil Lancey in the Red Bull. And in fifth place, Scarenzi, followed by Aero Racing, Sharia Coleslaw. Light Work, Chico Landy, I'm just going to say them all now. Cynical Race Day, Houdini, Sui, Gunner, Knuckles, and Scafney. Unfortunately, 4 drivers have disqualified from today's race due to various incidents. But such is life. That is how we start this season. And thankfully, it is the start of the season. So I don't want to say these points don't matter. But of any race to be DNF'd in, the first race is a pretty good one.
It's at least understandable, I would say, for the rest of the team. But it's still at the very end of the season when you're adding up those points and you're 5 points, 10 points behind the another team, it adds up. And they did change the point structure for this season. You see if this is the current one. It's not there, but they did change the point values for all of the divisions too. And I believe it was generally in favor of the drivers.
Good, yeah, and maybe we can cover that in one of the upcoming weeks of racing. Just to go over that once again. But yeah, very interesting, and hopefully we'll make it more competitive and yeah, better for the drivers.
Here we go. Division 1, first place will get 60 points, and 20th position will get 16 points. And before, I believe it was 100 in Division 1. And then Division 2, first place is 35, Division 3 is 25, and Division 4 is 18.
Okay.
Well, maybe that was the same for Division 1.
I just realized that it is 10:30 at night already. Some of the races have already wrapped by 10:30 at night.
I think I'm starting to feel the end of the week here, and I am going to open my window because I am roasting inside.
I'm also cooking right now. What is going on?
I think that's slowing us down.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so please pardon the street noise you're going to see. We're both going to open a window because it's 39 degrees outside, and it is much warmer in my room right now. We are on board with Chico Landy. It's Nicky 6'4" in the Alpine, 9th place. We had an overtake. Scarenzi finally able to get past Lancey and up into 4th place. Lancey battling back and forth with the Aston Martin. They are wheel to wheel. Here we go. Lancey able to fight him off, but Scarenzi's going to try one more time on the outside through the grass, channeling his inner Lewis Hamilton, but going way, way wide there. Out of turn 4, pushing way too hard like we saw through qualifying. Scarenzi not going to be able to do it this time. Loses position not only to Lancey, but Aero Racing as well. Scarenzi now sitting in 6th place. Aero Racing getting past Lancey. They go back to back in the slower section of 2.
It was not giving me a great camera angle for all that passing that was happening on the opposite side of the car, but continuing to battle. Aero Racing going on the inside, but that will shortly be the outside, and Scarenzi has caught back up after going a little wide on the corner, to be generous.
Yeah, to be generous. He decided to pop off, grab a hot dog, and re-enter the race.
I think they heard that we were starting to slow down and, get a little late in the night, and then they just started to all go attack mode in that one corner, and we're going to be right back to that corner here.
Right. Their guards down. Go, go, go. Again, apologies for audio quality. The window is open, and we are on a city street in downtown Baltimore, Maryland. So you hear what you're going to hear. I don't have too much to say about it, but I won't be sweating anymore. So That's a plus for me.
Need to go back to the jorts. I think that really helped us stay cool in one of the races that we covered. Looks like Houdini has jumped over Race Day, or maybe Race Day is dropping. He went to the pits. I got bamboozled again. I saw some movement happening on the leaderboard and Houdini dropping down, and he went into the pits.
We have an incident in Sector 1. It looks like there is a McLaren and potentially an Alpha Tauri that may have gotten caught up. It looks like
Scavney,
Knuckles potentially had a spin, but everything was cleared up. No debris on the track. We are good to resume. Things are getting a little squirrely out there. These drivers are getting a little more confident with their layouts, with the track. Looks like the rain has laid up just a wee little bit, but these drivers are getting a little more confident, as you would expect through the race as it progresses.
Looks like we have some of the top ones going into the pits. Ryan Rods is the first one up at the top of the leaderboard to pull into the pits, so he's looking to maybe try and make up some of that time, undercut them all in the pit strategy, because he had fallen down into second or third position, starting off in pole position. So hoping to get back to the top and put up a fight. I believe Brazil was also the race where GSR Edwin overtook Scarenzi on the final lap to take home first place.
That is absolutely what happened. That was a phenomenal call through the final two sectors of the final lap. GSR Edwin, like an absolute banshee, was able to get past Scarenzi in the last moments of DRS. That was such a phenomenal race right up until the very end. And here he is in second place, once again, primed and ready to see this through. If he is able to play his cards right, you may see a repeat of last year.
And I think afterwards he said he knew he had the pace, and Scarenzi said he knew Edwin had the pace. But sometimes it is better to just sit back and wait until the final lap if you know you can make the move, instead of just trading back and forth nonstop. And that just slows down both of you too. I mean, he doesn't have this hated rivalry with Scarenzi. You might as well work together and try and ooh. That almost looked like Sharia Coleslaw shot through the inside, or Ryan Rods maybe shot through the inside of Nicky as he was pulling into the pits.
Yeah, well, Aero Racing back up on top. So you got Palmer. Everyone, all these tops are deciding to duck into the pits now. Following Ryan Rods, he may just have the strategy to beat right now as he tries to catch up, close that 5-second gap to Aero Racing in the lead.
Well, I believe Aero Racing still has to pit. We gotta look at these tires.
Yeah, one stop. So Ryan Rods gonna keep it on those inters. You see, the rain is lessening. So these drivers are swapping to the inters now, as opposed to Cake having those inters earlier on in this race. Now is the time to do it. Aero Racing holding on for dear life, trying to get that interval up. But as you see, Ryan Rod's able to close the gap by 3 seconds with those inters. Definitely the tire to go with as this track dries out lap after lap. Aero Racing going to eventually pit here. Will it be now? It certainly will. And Ryan Rods will take the lead, I believe, for the first time here in Sao Paulo.
Well, since he started in pole position.
Did he, or was it Got Palmer?
No, it was Ryan Rods.
Sure
he took it over at the very end.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
Okay. I'll believe you.
He got the draft off of his teammate Race Day crossing the finish line and took it by 0.2 of a second, I want to say.
Okay.
And then somewhere around lap 4 or 5, he dropped down into second, but he went with the undercut going into the pits. He was the first out of the leader pack to pit and then was able to come out. We do have a safety car again. We missed that, but we do have Scavney now dropping, falling to Brazil.
Unfortunate. This is just unfortunate watching all of these. Yes, I'm sorry. I just fact-checked. Yeah, Ryan Rods in first out of qualifying, followed by Got Palmer and GSR Edwin. We are under safety car. Yeah, Sorry.
You were sure about that one. No, you were sure about that one.
I had to see that one through. I really thought so. God Palmer took fastest last season, which was like 4 weeks ago. So I was still reading my notes, getting my notes confused with real life. But yeah, unfortunate to lose the Haas of Scabney. He was having some issues. He had that spin out earlier with Houdini, but is now unfortunately going to have to bow out after just completing his one and only pit stop. Unfortunate for the Haas, as both cars are eliminated in the first race of the new season.
It's also not the best for Ryan Rods. I mean, he's still in first place, but with the undercut, there was significant gaps between all of the drivers behind him. Significant as in more than half of a second, because these guys are usually glued to each other. So there was some gap between the first 5 drivers, and now they're going to all be right behind him. And we are just over halfway through this race. I think this is the second safety car we've had, but had a couple of yellow flags out here.
Yes, well, we're going to see what this call-up is made of. Does Ryan Rods have what it takes to dance with the big dogs? I'm so sorry. I tried something there and it did not work. I'm also drinking carbonated beverage, so I've been like fighting off burps here through the entire race. Hey, from the rain, from the safety cars to the broadcast booth, it's just a hot mess in race 1, season 11.
I mean, you need like a preseason race to calling it warmed up, get back into it. The 3-week break really throws you off.
I was gonna say, we had the opportunity to call the Champions race, the Race of Champions 2 weeks ago, and we were both out of town. Like, we were physically unable to call that stream that night. So yeah, unfortunate. We had it. They dangled it in front of us. Sounds like from here on out, we will absolutely be taking that warm-up race before the season starts. But hey, that's all well and good.
It's like we're getting one more go around with the safety car. I was holding my breath to see if he would pull in on that lap. Coach saying in the chat that late night is messing with you, Nick. It's messing with both of us, I think. I don't know how much we aged in the past 3 weeks, but I was ready for bed at like 8:30 when the Steelers game started.
Yeah, are they winning? Sorry, change of topic.
Let's see. I'll tell you if I hear fireworks because my window's open.
Hey, there you go.
No, they're not.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I have a very late night tonight for the race, followed by an early morning tomorrow. I'm going fishing tomorrow. We're going into Chesapeake Bay. We're going rock fishing, which down here they call rockfish striped bass or rockfish. So we're going striped bass fishing tomorrow. But the boat leaves at 7 a.m. and it's about an hour away from my house. So it's going to be a real quick pit stop, kind of sleep/nap tonight. But we are here. We are here, lap 20 of the race, making it happen. We can sleep when we're dead, right? We'll sleep with the fishes. I'll sleep with a belly full of fish tomorrow when I get home. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll make it there. This one should wrap up by maybe midnight, is my guess right now. No, it should be like 11:15. I'm thinking and I'm hoping. We do have the safety car coming in this lap. We are slowly losing cars, so eventually there shouldn't be enough out there to cause more safety cars.
Yeah, let's see. We have 16 laps remaining. We have 15 cars. So, yeah, theoretically, we could finish this race with 1 lap to go. But we are under green. Ryan Rods taking it across the finish straight in the lead of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Race number 1 of the season. Scarenzi already above Aero Racing Design, dropping down 2. There may be something wrong. Nope, just a racing incident. Scarenzi and Race Day getting past Aero Racing. Houdini getting past Knuckles. Some more movement in the middle of the pack.
I was gonna say we had 3 wide going down that straight when everybody released. Scarenzi was the one able to squeak through out of all of them, and now we have Edwin right on the heels of Got Palmer.
Yeah, look at this. He absolutely has his number. We know that Edwin is a clinician, getting super close, breaking very, very late, living up to the name, the slogan of F123, be the last to break. So we had another penalty going to Cynical there for I missed the call.
I think just
Track limits.
Yeah. I believe it was a 3-second penalty.
ESR Edwin maintaining that pace, 3/10 behind Got Palmer as we head into another straight. He's going to capitalize on that slipstream. Track is drying out. You can see how that water is just drying up. You're seeing the Delta line, a little clearer especially from this angle. These drivers trying to stay as close to one another as possible as we see Scarenzi and Lancey once again. Deja vu between the two drivers battling for fourth. Scarenzi trying to get by Lancey, being 3 cars wide as he defends in sector 1 here like an absolute madman. Scarenzi just can't find the way. In the grass again, able to keep that car straight, but still behind the Red Bull.
How terrifying is it to have someone like Scarenzi behind you who is a very good driver, but is not caring that he's going into the grass and going onto the curb to try and overtake you? It's like those nightmare monster chase scenes where it's just running through every wall and every door that you lock behind you.
Oh, if I was a driver, you would have to have a microphone on me. That microphone would have to be in the other room because, Scarenzi's behind you. It's just blood-curdling scream the entire time. Especially that he thinks he might have a chance passing you in the grass while everything is wet. He would rather try to spin his car out, try to get it a little squirrely, than keep it on the track behind you. Just terrifying stuff there. We also saw Aero Racing gain position on race day for that position. The Aero Racing dropped behind Scarenzi and race day back into 7th. He was able to make up at least one of those spots. Lightwork taking another penalty, and Got Palmer setting yet another fastest lap on the day. Got Palmer just has the number here in Brazil.
He is starting to chase down Ryan Rods and try to climb up into first place as the track slowly dries out. And Ryan Rods has been a little bit left and right on the track. Just on this lap, it's going to be a hard one for him to defend. Got Palmer, I think, 2 consecutive fastest laps.
Yeah, just phenomenal from the Williams there. You love to see it. At least one of the Williams able to keep pace here through today's race. You're also seeing Chico Landi back in the Alpine, pushing up on Cynical's Aston Martin, but has since lost that pace. He was within 0.2 of a second behind the Aston Martin, was unable to get it done.
That really almost had me there where you were saying pushing up on Cynical's Aston Martin.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. Got Palmer goes fastest once again. This time it's a 1:16.7. He's almost a second faster than his last time.
And Aero Racing Design right after took the fastest lap in the Alpine, chasing down Scarenzi.
Light work with the overtake on Sharia Coleslaw on the Red Bull for 10th place now. But he is still nursing that 3-second track limits penalty back in 10th. He's going to have to put some significant space between him and the second bull if he wants to keep that up in 10th.
This is becoming more of a battle where we have Aero Racing sneaking up to join the party of Lancey and Scarenzi.
Wow, look at this. Aero Racing is going to try and do it if he can. Scarenzi just ever so close to this overtake. Look at this back and forth. You want to talk about an accordion effect. Here it is. Lancey leading the pack here for 4th to 6th. Just keeping these two commanding drivers behind him as long as he possibly can. We're coming up 12 laps to go in the race. Definitely time for Scarenzi and Aero to put a move on Lancey, if not one another. As all of the other drivers have appeared to build a pretty decent gap. Knuckles trying to close in on Houdini further down, but nothing is as gripping as this threesome right here.
And Got Palmer is keeping that half-second gap behind Ryan Rods. He's gotten a bit closer, but I haven't seen any hints of a major move. Of course, that one will happen when we're not looking and we're watching one of these other little battles going on. But after that, GSR Edwin in third, a second behind, and then Lancey and crew 2 seconds behind in fourth. So top of the pack potentially stays the same. Everyone's done their tire stops. Unless these guys, one of them cruises through like Scarenzi or Aero Racing and then is able to chase down the leaders.
Oh, down in 13th place, Knuckles within 1/10 of Houdini. See if he can do it. It looks like he is unable to get through in long straights. We're entering the bend. He might have been blocked out as he is now bookmarked between the two McLarens. Knuckles has been improving time on Houdini through the last few laps. We may see something here on the finish straight. Got Palmer going faster once again, 2/10 faster. Aero Racing able to say, hang on 1 second. It's not just your show with a 1:16.414. Two drivers absolutely battling it out. Lancey and Scarenzi, once again, we take our eyes off the ball, and now we have almost three wide going in where we saw a massive incident last season. Will they be able to keep it clean? They will. It's Scarenzi followed by Aero Racing. Lancey drops down into sixth with a lot of movement later in the grid as well. Houdini and Knuckles, we saw them back in 12th and 13th. They're now 9th and 10th.
Not a single car wanted to give me a good view of that action, but by the end of it, we get Lancey dropping from 4th to 6th, Scarenzi moving up from 5th to 4th, and Aero Racing moving up as well. So a huge shuffle in 4th, 5th, and 6th. GSR Edwin now closing in on Gott Palmer, so they are now both 1 second, within 1 second of Ryan Rods.
When you want to talk about some drama, FIA, the stewards have just announced that DRS has been enabled. The track has been deemed safe enough for DRS to be activated. So these races, these battles are going to just increase. Here we go.
All of them going into the pits.
Switching out for slicks. It's time for the dance. Less than 10 laps to go, and these guys are just getting ready for action. Whoa, Ryan Rods just getting out in front of Scarenzi. That was almost tragic in the pit lane.
We'll see if anyone isn't able to make it out of the pit safely, because that has been an issue before here in Brazil. Everyone looks like they are doing A-okay. And I believe everyone went in for a pit stop. Putting on soft tires, it's still a little bit wet out there.
It's still a little bit wet, but the soft tires should be able to make it, especially because the ground is not cooking them and shaving them off as much. We'll see. Looks like this is the strategy to roll with, so they know better than I do, I guess.
And with that DRS, that is going to wake up this race for the remaining, let's say, 9 laps that we have, because we will have soft tires and DRS, so those gaps that previously were not overtakes will soon be. We have, what, 3 DRS zones here in Brazil?
Yes. Yeah, Coach said it best. With DRS enabled, 2, yeah, sorry. With DRS enabled, we have officially entered the danger zone.
Dangerous for who, though, is what we'll determine here.
The answer
and Sui
is yes.
Now retiring from the session, so 6 drivers have now succumbed to Brazil.
So unfortunate. That is the second full team to be bowed out of the first race of the season. Alfa Romeo will join Haas with a do not pass go, do not collect $200 in race 1 here. Race day. No surprise here. Setting fastest lap. That's a 1:13. Time to beat.
And I believe, too, in the league, you only get points if you finish 90% of the race, and I don't think we're there yet.
Wow.
So that could be potentially hurtful for the team. Looks like race day in the Ferrari and Houdini and the McLaren both put medium tires on. Everyone else out on softs now. The softs are faster, but sometimes it can be a little tricky to warm up in the rain.
Can definitely be difficult to warm up. I mean, and this track is also very demanding. There are a lot of points where some tire deg may be required. They may want to be pushing a bit harder than the other drivers, especially with DRS enabled. We'll see if the strategy of medium tires pays off for those 2 minority drivers there, but Scott Palmer still looking to close that gap to Ryan Rod, still under a second, able to activate DRS in that straight. But it is not enough yet. Slowly closing that gap on race leader.
Ryan Rods is holding on for dear life right now, but he's doing it well, although I just saw Houdini joined once again.
Always.
Palmer coming into the corner after that DRS zone with a half second behind. So if he can hold that gap until the next DRS zone, he'll have a good shot. But Ryan Rods has been able to slowly sneak away in sector 2.
Oh, closing the gap even more. Aero Racing back in 5th behind Scarenzi. Now 3/10 back. This is still far from over for these 3 drivers who have stayed in formation for the better part of this race. Scott Palmer losing pace a bit. GSR Edwin now looking to try and catch Scott Palmer as he is just under half a second.
These are going to be 2 mad dashes down the finish line straight. Scott Palmer and GSR Edwin just opening up their DRS now. GSR Edwin's getting pretty close and got the fastest lap, a 109. Previous fastest was, I think, a 111 just on the last lap.
Yes, yeah, 113 to a 111, now to a 109. I can definitively say these tires have been warmed up. Aero Racing getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits, multiple warnings there. That's going to severely affect the Alpine's push here, as he is now 2/10 behind Scarenzi, just trying to claw for that overtake. He may very well get it in the upcoming DRS zone if he's able to keep it clean through the turns here.
Just reading the paddock chat once again, and Scavney saying 5 wing changes in a DNF in 15 laps. That sounds like us racing in Formula One. When we did Monaco as our shared team career, that was very short-lived. They definitely ran over the wings.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was a joke between the two of us. At some point, they're just going to have to tell us, hey, mate, sorry, you have to stop.
They were just swapping our wings from each other's cars every time we pit stop.
All right, yeah, we'll pop it on yours. You can take a couple laps and come back. We'll pop it on his. We'll Oh, I love it. Yeah, so much work there for the paddock, especially for the Alphas and the Haas teams, keeping those cars in tip-top shape here as we get ready for race number 2. Ooh, don't know if you can hear the train or not, but it's train time, I guess. Cynical moving past Lightwork back in 8th place. The Aston Martin able to make his way up the grid just a wee bit. Next stop, race day, but that's a 7-second gap. So unlikely there. Cynical going to try and hold pace and fight off Lightwork, as Lightwork will be under DRS shortly.
That's still going to be a good finish for Aston Martin, though. I think Ferrari and then Aston Martin would be the 1-2 in constructors if the race stopped right now. We do have 5 laps left, so plenty of time for that to change.
Ever so slowly have we been. Aero Racing looks like he's going to, yes, Aero Racing is going to get past Scarenzi in 4th place. The Alpine making his way slowly through the grid. He has a long way to catch this top 3, but the race is definitely behind him now, as Scarenzi and Lancy will not have Aero Racing take the last say in today's race. These 4 now are still after it. This is phenomenal, seeing how close these 4 have been this entire race, swapping positions ever so slowly. But all 4 of them share the same quality, as they are patient drivers. No one is acting on impulse here. They're making sure that when they make a move, it is well calculated, and they're not going to have any repercussions, any negative actions come back at them afterwards.
I was about to say race day joining the party, so now we have 4 of them that Ferrari's sneaking up. And if he can make a move, that's only going to help Ferrari from here. Ryan Rod's still holding on to the lead, although it is getting closer. Got Palmer, not enough to overtake in turn 1. Ryan Rod's still able to hold on, but with this next DRS zone, they're back-to-back on this track. It is very hard to hold that lead.
Yeah, we may very well be seeing some action. Here we go. Keep your eyes on Gott Palmer. Unable to get up there. Cynical getting past Light Work once again, middle of the pack. But Gott Palmer fighting for this. 2 laps ago, he was 4/10. A lap ago, he was 3/10. Now he's averaging just around 2/10 behind the race leader, Ryan Rod's pole position from today's qualifying session. 3 laps to go. Will the Williams be able to get past the Ferrari for the first win of the 11th season running here in Midwest eSports racing?
Now I'm just going to pull out my little magic ball, and then if I'm wrong, delete this audio from the recast of this. But I'm picturing Gott Palmer finally getting past Ryan Rods in the first DRS zone, and then GSR Edwin getting past.
Here we go. Here's
one
the
or
push.
both of them in the
Mitch.
second.
Gott Palmer gets past Ryan Rods. 2 laps remain. Ryan Rods reclaims it after turn 1. They're back and forth, and Ryan Rods pulls away once again, leaving Gott Palmer back with GSR Edwin to regroup and try it one more time. Phenomenal work from Ryan Reynolds. I did it. I knew that I was going to do it all day long. I finally did it. Ryan Rods keeping his head calm and just getting past Gott Palmer after the first turn there. Mitch, you were saying.
I was saying in the next 2 laps, Gott Palmer will get by Ryan Rods clearly in the first DRS zone, and Edwin will get past one or both of them in the second DRS zone because of the first battle.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so
and if I'm wrong, I'll just mute the audio on the rebroadcast.
You're calling a 1-2 battle with GSR Edwin, pulling a Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes to win this race from 3rd this time. We have 2 laps to go. If you recall, just a few races ago when we were here in Brazil for Season 10, GSR Edwin, in the final lap of this race, was able to overtake Scarenzi for the lead. That's gonna be dicey. He has to make up almost a full second to get past Ryan Rods, but it is not out of the question, especially if these two are fighting. Talking about a fight, Aero Racing able to get past Scarenzi once again, bring that Alpine up into 4th. However, he's still sitting on that 3-second time penalty, so that may not be the final spot, but it is definitely better to be ahead of Scarenzi than behind, even with penalties tacked on.
See just how many penalties there are. Just 3 seconds for Aero Racing. So he will drop down to 6, I believe, after all of that's handed out.
Well, it's been a valiant fight, definitely by these top 7 drivers, at least today. We have had plenty of movement in the back of the pack, though. Lightwork and Cynical going back and forth. Knuckles and Houdini had it out for one another at the midpoint of today's race. And Sharia Coleslaw having one hell of a start for the Red Bull, able to get up into, I believe, 6th or 7th before the second safety car of the day. Sorry. I've got this window open now. I'm all gunky.
Coach said listen for fireworks too. Maybe the Steelers just scored.
There we go, Steelers.
But to say there's gonna be fireworks in this too. Gott Palmer's only got a few more corners left where he can attack Ryan Rods, but they are gonna have that final DRS straight.
Scarenzi and Aero Racing is the battle to be held right now. Scarenzi just getting past. They have swapped. Aero Racing, yeah. Can you jump down into 4th, please? Because these two are just at each other's throats right now. I'm going to keep an eye on the intervals of that leading pack, but Scarenzi and Aero Racing Design just swapped places 3 or 4 times through the turns of Sector 2. But...
Oh, what's happened?
Oh. Did Gott Palmer just do what I think he did?
Why was Ryan slow there?
Did Gott Palmer... Gott Palmer takes the checkered flag in the first race of the 11th season here at Midwest eSports Racing. What on earth did we just watch?
I don't know. It seemed like Ryan was just slower. Not slower. It just
did Ryan
Scott
forget?
Palmer was shot out of that last corner, and I don't know what happened. But what a win for Scott Palmer. It was DRS, I guess, but that looked fast for DRS unless he was just held on that close. Wow.
What did he feed that car? I mean, folks, what just happened? I wish we had race replay available, because that was a sight to behold. I am sorry that I was so focused on the back of the pack there, because I have no words. I have no words. People are calling. Ryan Rod is checking the FIA, calling for the FIA to check the engine fuel rate, making sure that everything is above board there in the garage. Wow. Well, Scott Palmer was able to do it. He qualified second, but he was able to squeak out the win. I mean, like, squeak out the win in the final 200 meters of this race. 36 laps. All he needed was 200 meters to get it done. Scott Palmer in the Williams, sitting pretty after one here in season 11 of action in Division 1. What?
That was wild.
Huh?
I'm still waiting to see if they report on that. I know sometimes drivers can run out of fuel if they miscalculate the load in their loadout, but just right at the end, it happened last time too with Edwin and Scarenzi at Brazil. Yeah. But Scott Palmer, 8/100ths of a second, just at the very end of that finish line. Most F1 tracks, finish lines aren't that long before you cross, and don't have a DRS that early before you cross the finish line.
I just have no words. I have no words here today. Yeah, that Brazil always comes through. But we thought last year's race with GSR Edwin taking it in the last, couple turns, the last sector or two of the race was thrilling, but nothing can compare to what we just saw from Scott Palmer. It is exhaustion. It's hunger, and it's just sheer confusion. I don't know what happened there, and I don't know what to say here for the stream. Wow. What a start to the 11th season here for Division 1 Formula 1 racing at MidWest eSports. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is phenomenal, and if this is any inkling as to what we have in store for the next 14 weeks, we are in for one hell of a season. Again, our schedules are a little weird, so we may not be calling a couple of races. We know for sure we will not be calling the Las Vegas weekend. That is the weekend of the 16th, 17th, 18th, somewhere. I believe it's the 16th. Yep. Is the MidWest race that we will not be calling that, unfortunately. But make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Stay up to date on all of the race dates. We go live on this channel or the MidWest Racing Twitch. We will keep you up to date on all of that. Just subscribe, join us over on Discord, do all of the things to stay up to date on Nick and Mitch.
Yeah, you covered most of that. And it will be in Imola next week.
Oh, my favorite. I have a 3D printed, courtesy of you, I have a 3D printed track layout of Imola up on the wall here. So definitely one of my favorites. Very happy to finally be able to call a race there. That's going to be such an absolute blast to see what these drivers can do in the tighter confines in Italy. Thank you very much to all of our YouTube members, the folks who chip a little money in every month to make sure that we can have graphics and events like this one. Thank you very much to Bone Crusher 2D, Coach 34, and Mama Bell, along with co-producers Captain Snowbeard and Kill a Vapor, along with and Kirsten and our fans and Fans Plus. Thank you very much to all of those folks. If you would like to contribute to this channel and some of the graphics, you can also become a member. It includes early access to our show, The Riders Report, which covers Ubisoft's game Riders Republic every week. We are on episode 97 coming up next week of our guaranteed 100 episodes. So 3 weeks to go on that before we have the big reveal. But that goes live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Of course, you can join us here, the home of Midwest eSports Racing, one of the homes of Midwest eSports Racing, every Thursday until further notice, November 16th, around 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Stay up to date. If you don't want to contribute, you can just subscribe to the channel. You can have a fun graphic pop up during the live stream if you do it here.
There you go.
Yeah. Or you can just do it on your own time whenever you replay whatever just happened with Got Palmer there. But thank you very much for joining us for yet another entry in Midwest Esports Racing. Season 11 is officially underway with Got Palmer in the Williams taking the first trophy of the season. Until next week, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see yins in Imola.